Hi, and welcome to Just Trying Dad. Chidodogu here, and on this episode I would like to tackle one of my favorite things. It's no secret, I like to run, and I wouldn't say I'm great at it, or I am at an elite level. I honestly don't know. I've done a couple half marathons, 10Ks and things like that. Not great. I don't really focus on the times. I'm not trying to be the fastest. I'm just trying to get out there and experience a run. For the longest time, it has been a bit of a struggle. It's been labor. It's a thing you do because you know you have to be fit, but you don't always kind of want to do it. And I dragged myself around to do it because it was the easiest way to kind of experience some kind of physical fitness without having to do too much. You lace up, you run. In recent years, my relationship with running has changed, and I didn't necessarily know what that was. I go out there, clear my head, think up new things to do, surprisingly having no worries and letting everything behind and just leaving it all on the trail or the track. And I had no idea what it was until recently, when research introduced me to a term called Runfulness. And I was like, oh, this is not a word. What is this? What is Runfulness? And so I found out that Runfulness is mindfulness unlocked by running. And all know how I feel about mindfulness. Mindfulness is a thing that gets me through the day. Now, to have Runfulness tacked on, of course I was intrigued. Of course I was ready to figure out what it was. And so it turns out that there is a post-run state of mind where creative thoughts come to life, because either you are less stressed and single-mindedly focusing on the task at hand, which is just run, exercise, and then it unlocks other things. So I was excited to hear about this and the fact that this could be a thing, and I use it constantly. If I am stuck on ideas for the pod, if I'm stuck on an email response and a tone that I want to set, if I'm stuck on a paper I want to write, or something that is just on the tip of my tongue but I just don't know how to say or do, I run. And surprisingly, come back from a run and it's like jotting things down. It's almost like the floodgates are open. So I believe that Runfulness is a thing. I believe that the transformative ideas that you can get from Runfulness are real. You just have to go out there and practice and do it. So that's Runfulness. That's kind of what I think about it. You go out there, you find mindfulness in a run, on a trail, wherever it is. You don't have to be good. You don't have to be elite to achieve it. You don't have to run, I don't know, pace and things like that. But I know I go out there and I give my all. But it's just do what you can. Don't worry about who's sprinting past you. You get what you need from it. I think everybody can benefit from a run. And some of the benefits of Runfulness, or just running in general, or like I said, decreased stress, decreased focus, which kind of sounds like an odd thing, but bear with me for a second. So this is decreased focus in the things, in the day-to-day life things, in the world things that are kind of weighing you down and stressing you out. So now all you're doing is freeing up your mind. So that's I'll take that. Take a break from thoughts and things like that. Having transformative ideas, like I said, I'm pretty sure that's big for most people, if they can unlock their creativity and just start somewhere to kind of get a spark. And I think overall, peace of mind, and most importantly, a healthy, sound mind and body. Those benefits sound great to me. So it's one of those things where if I can partake in something that has a dual benefit of being healthy as well as mindful, I'm all for it. So I encourage it. One of my struggles in life right now is I'd like to. So it's weird because I'm an introvert with extrovert tendencies, and as much as I like to run in a group, I love to run alone. So it'd be nice to be able to run in a group from time to time, but I love running alone because you don't want any comparison. It's the thief of joy, like people like to say. So for me, it's just being able to run alone and kind of mindful. So I will give you a few easy ways to get into running, and hopefully it works for you. And this is kind of what worked for me. I think for me, the first thing is just be willing to try, be willing to fail, be willing to be bad at it, be willing to quit, be willing to succumb to the parts of your body that have not been worked out like that in years, and still come back. But don't push yourself to a point where it's like you've hurt, or you do something, or you tweak something too much. Definitely stretch before you run. And one thing I've constantly heard from the running podcasts or the guided runs that I do, which is another thing I'll talk about, is prepare for the run the day before, the night before, or just prepare to run in your day, either in the morning, in the afternoon, whatever it is. So that means setting out the clothes, or planning your clothes to make sure that you're wearing run gear you can quickly just get on and go, versus, oh, I want to run. Now I don't know what to wear. And now I talk myself out of a run. I've done many 6 a.m. runs that just because of outfit, or because I didn't do laundry properly, or something just didn't kind of pan out the way I wanted it to, that I gave up on my run. So I think that that's something to kind of consider, and that's something to look into. Just prepare for the way you want to run. Another thing is to listen to your body a couple of times. So as a young person, I probably remember running miles and miles without any kind of aid, without any kind of equipment, any kind of pain management tools. And as I've become older, I either had to have shin sleeves or compression tights or things like that can kind of just hold my bad knees in place and push me through, because that's important. If you can get those things that you need, or the equipment that you need whilst running, I think you'll also go a long way. Another interesting thing is I don't know about most people, but for me, I'm very envious of people who can run on the road with cars and everything. I'm a very anxious person, very, very lose focus with all that noise and all the distraction. So I tend to pick a trail, or pick a path, or pick a running area that is more consistent. So there are no externalities that can affect my run, because that in itself can discourage you. So once you get more focused and get more endurance, you can do anything. But for starters, it's always nice to run through a trail, through a looping path, around the track, and get your miles that way. I currently run from my house to the park that has a path or a trail, and run that like 10 times, and I get my miles in and go back home. And the most dangerous part of my run is running through the neighborhood and crossing the street, but it's so early that sometimes nobody's on there. And that in itself also brings a whole nother challenge, which is running in the early hours in a place that has a very diverse and lots of nature and lots of wildlife. Sometimes I've seen coyotes on my run, I've seen deer on my run, I've seen stray cats on my run, I've encountered early morning dog walkers on my run. And all these things kind of provide their own challenges, or pose their own challenges. So it is up to you to kind of figure out what it was. And when I started running, all these things kind of scared me or kind of discouraged me. I wouldn't mention the snakes, but I hate snakes, and I've seen them on my run. I've seen them shed skin on my run, and I think the first time I saw that, I turned back home. I was like, yeah, not today. We're not doing this. I'm going to go back to bed and be comfortable where I need to be. But as time goes on, that anxiety, I think that's another thing that running has helped me with, is the anxiety's died down. I know now what to expect from my run because my run is more consistent and my path is more determined versus I'm building it as I go. And it just helps to do it that way. So I think in summary, it's prepare for the run, stretch, find a path, give yourself time, give yourself grace, and don't give up. And it should be okay. I think then you could become one of the running family. I'm curious to see who else likes to run, and hopefully we can run together. If I'm not feeling too introverted, or if I don't have a task I'm trying to get out of my head, those are the ways to get into running. Another really cool thing I recommend is I use the Nike Run app a lot. I don't necessarily need to because I have a whole lot of tech. I have watches and stuff and different tracking tools. But I like the Nike Run Club app because it gives you options, right? It may not be the best in accuracy, which is why I have other trackers and things like that, but it gives you options for easing your run. So I really like the fact that they had the guided runs. Eliud Kipchoge was there doing it, and that's one of my favorite runs. To run 60 minutes with Eliud Kipchoge, who is the world marathon champion, did a marathon in under 2 hours. It's good to just hear pacing from him. Nothing about technicals. It's just stick to your run, clear your head, focus on your run, those type of things, and that keeps you going, knowing that, okay, so I'm 60 minutes on here. My goal is to hit that, and that in that way brings me some peace because I know I don't have to keep checking my watch. Someone's going to tell me in my ear when I got here, and here, and they don't talk a lot. They kind of just do it in milestone-y type way. So it is really cool to do. I've done a bunch of them, and you can also do some on the treadmill. Before I felt comfortable going out on the road, I ran a lot on the treadmill. It's not the same with the guided meditation, but which is another thing they do with the guided runs, telling you to increase your incline and decrease your incline at certain times. It makes it feel like you're on this undulating mountain and things like that. Things you wouldn't necessarily do on your own. But if you had a guide to say, okay, now I think I believe in you. I think you can do a bit more incline. I think you can do a bit more increase now and decrease now and things like that. So that's helpful to kind of shake up the monotony. So I've done a bunch of guided runs. I've done a bunch of different run ideas and run in different settings, and it is essentially like a podcast in your ear whilst you run. And so they can throw in peaceful sounds, they can throw in beach sounds, they can throw in different escapes that you just escape. So that's always cool to do, and then it doesn't hurt that it has some competition and tracking options if you have friends and you're so socially inclined. And you can also track your goals and how far. So it's not always going to be accurate because GPS and stuff and different apps, and it's more optimized for iPhone users than it is for Android users, but that's a whole nother topic. But we move. So that's something to kind of consider to do, and you have that in the back of your ear, so you're not alone. You're guided and you're being helped. The part about the misspeak about guided meditation, there is a Headspace guided run that kind of walks you through how meditation and running sync. And I love it so much because it just gives me that synergy, which really ties back into that runfulness, mindfulness. Running is mindfulness, or running can be mindfulness if you do it the right way. So that's mostly what I had for today. I hope people out there, if you have questions, I'm happy to answer. I'm happy to help in any way. I'm not an expert by any means, but it's really cool. And one of the things that, to tie this back to Runfulness, that is really interesting about Runfulness and the research that had come out. So another thing that I didn't get to say was the research was done by Brooks Running, the running brand, or funded by Brooks Running, the running brand. And of course they have a campaign and everything around it, and it's commercialized. But one of the things that people found was more helpful for them to get those benefits I spoke about earlier, the fact that you have to run sometimes in silence. You could, if you do run with music, guided runs, but not too many prompts, some music that doesn't demand your attention, or music that's familiar to you, so you don't have to think about that's new, I'll have to Shazam that later, things like that, or things that distract you or pull you out of your run, or just a podcast that is kind of really, really lo-fi, not really trying to engage you in any kind of significant thought. So better to run in silence and run alone. It's good to run in community, but running alone, you're not in competition with anyone. You're just going out there and getting the benefits that you need. Wear the appropriate clothes. There many times it's either I have clothes that I start to get itchy in, or things that kind of start to affect me. So I realized very early in my run is I have to run in a way that protects my skin, because I have sensitive skin, and tree pollen, freshly cut grass, all those things affect me and just take me out of it and make me want to itch and things like that, and it just changes the game. So I have to basically layer up no matter the weather, just to make sure my skin doesn't get affected by all these things. The appropriate clothes always help. You don't want to be in a run and realize that you don't have what you need, and then you have to stop or you have to go back. No pressure on yourself. I think that's the thing. Don't set a goal. Really, sometimes you do set a goal, but it's like, don't be too hard on yourself if you have to deviate from that goal or pivot from that goal and then go somewhere else or do something else. And don't force it. I think if you feel your body either giving in or saying it's probably time to stop, it's probably time to stop. And so it is one of those things where you gauge it as you go, run as you can, and do what you can in a run versus trying to do all that you've seen, because your body will quickly let you know what it's ready for or what it can and cannot do. So those are my takeaways. Those are my things. Running is my thing. Running might not be your thing, but I think we live in a running world. Whether or not you know it, you're a runner. We're all athletes. We just have to stick to a pace. We just have to stick to a routine. We just have to stick to a workout that works for us, and not what the world tells us is elite or best or healthy. I think if we all run in one way or the other, the world will be a better place. The world will be a happier place. And, it's just exciting to see another runner out there and give them the peace sign or wave or smile. And so hopefully I can see you out there wherever you are and give you a nod, give you a peace sign, and give you a wave. So thank you for listening to this episode of Just Trying Dad, and I'm so excited to share that with you and to see that there could be more runners in this world. So feel free to reach out at Just Trying Dad. It's Chido Dogu here, and signing out. Speak soon. Bye.
Please be sure to spread the word. Tell a friend, and you can find us wherever podcasts can be found, on Spotify or Google Podcasts, and keep having the conversations, and we'll see you soon.